Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to provide you with a complete guide on AI voice assistants. I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions, break down how AI voice agents work today, and cover some use cases for businesses. However, the biggest part of this video will be dedicated to reviewing and comparing the 3 best tools for building these assistants. And of course, I'll include some practical tutorials, that's for sure, so that by the end of this video, you'll be able to build these AI voice solutions yourself. If you're new to the channel, my name is Bogdan and I run an AI automation agency called Bosar Agency. We specialize in providing AI chatbots, AI voice systems, and automation solutions for businesses. So if you're looking for an AI color for your business, feel free to get in touch at bosar.agency. I've been in this space for quite a while now, and we receive a lot of feedback on how people perceive this technology today. So, there is a common skepticism towards AI-based voice assistants, and I think it's important to address that upfront. So I'll go over the main concerns and questions just to make sure we are all on the same page when it comes to the types of solutions we are discussing and the tasks we are considering them for. So the general perception is that AI is going to change a lot, but today it's not there yet. It is frustrating for customers to talk to robots. They prefer human interactions. These AI voice assistants can't really handle complex tasks, etc. So long story short, AI colors are not there yet and human interactions are just better. And I agree with that. Human interactions are better. AI is not here to replace humans, at least at this stage, but it is here to help us automate all the generic and, repetitive tasks, such as answering FAQs, scheduling appointments, redirecting the calls to the right department, troubleshooting. For these kind of tasks, AI is doing a great job. Many businesses have implemented these solutions and are saving a lot of money by not wasting human resources on generic tasks. And it's worth noting that even these basic tasks were not handled well by older technology. A good comparison here is chatbots. We used to have old school rule-based chatbots that were pretty limited. They were predefined with a set of rules and they couldn't handle anything outside those rules. But now those chatbots are powered by AI, right? And they use large language models to understand users' query and then generate an answer rather than just spitting out a preset response. The same thing is happening with voice technology. We used to have those awful interactive voice response systems like IVR systems that worked like a phone tree where everything was pre-configured. Press 1 for this department, press 2 for another, and so on. But now we have AI-powered voice assistants that use large language models to understand users' inquiry and then generate an answer on the spot without the need for pre-configured options. The output is generated by AI based on the user's input, making the whole experience much more dynamic and effective. Okay, this little flowchart illustrates how voice-based AI assistants work. It starts with voice input, which is converted to text using speech recognition technology. The text input is then processed by the large language model to generate the text output, and then this text is converted back to speech using text-to-speech technology, resulting in the voice output. Of course, it is incredibly simplified. In between, you'd probably use some kind of a logic platform to manage the whole process, but for now, I want you to understand that it takes audio input, converts it to text for processing, and then it converts the text output back to audio. That's how it works right now. There is no direct audio input and output. So for example, if you breathe heavily, it wouldn't be able to understand it because it is hard to convert your breath into text, right? However, OpenAI has released direct audio input and output for a handful of users, and it is expected to be fully released by the end of the year. And in my opinion, it will make the communication with these voice-based assistants even more realistic, and hence it will further increase the demand for these kind of solutions. But for now, I like to think of it as an AI text-based chatbot, which you're probably already familiar with. The only difference is that there are 2 extra steps: speech recognition at the start and text-to-speech at the end. If you've already built AI text-based chatbots, maybe using VoiceFlow or other chatbot builders, the same logic you can apply here. You already have the skills. You just need to switch to tools that support AI voice-based assistants. And I'll show you exactly how to do it later in this video. But before that, let's answer the most common questions right away. Is it usable yet? Yes, businesses are actively adopting these solutions. I'm impressed by how much platforms for building these voice systems have improved over the last few months. You can now control latency, you can add filler sounds like to make it sound more human. Plus, you can implement custom functions, allowing these assistants to not only answer questions, but handle tasks like scheduling appointments, creating CRM records, making outbound calls, qualifying leads, and much more. I've seen people implementing these solutions for real estate agents, law firms, dentists, roofing companies, and many more. Really, any business that has quite straightforward workflow and handles a good number of calls each month can benefit from this technology. The second question is, can it speak other languages than English? We've had leads requesting bots in Spanish, in Czech, and the answer is yes. Yes, it can. But the quality depends on the language and on the provider, on the technology provider for text-to-speech, right? But if we take 11 Labs, for example, they provide a high-quality text-to-speech model that supports 32 languages, including Spanish, German, French, Italian, Russian, and more. The next question is, what does it cost? Well, it depends on the tool you use. Some of them may charge a monthly subscription fee, others can charge per minute, so they offer a pay-as-you-go model, right? You also have to consider a few factors like technology providers for speech recognition, for text-to-speech, for LLM processing. But let's say we use Vapi for the system infrastructure, GPT 3.5 Turbo as the LLM, and 11 Labs for text-to-speech. In that case, you'd be looking at 13 cents per minute or 65 cents for a 5-minute call. Another question is how customizable or how flexible it is to meet your business needs. I already mentioned this. You can fully customize the behavior of the bot and you can integrate it with your website, with your CRM system, calendars, anything that has API endpoints. This is what we do at our agency. We create these systems and we build custom integrations with your business. So again, if you need a solution like that, definitely reach out to us. The last question is about speech recognition and robotic sound. As I said, the technology is evolving rapidly. It's already much better than it was just a few months ago, and it's only becoming better and better as we move forward. Its ability to recognize speech, handle pauses, and understand when you want to interrupt it is already impressive. Robotic sound is no longer an issue. I'm telling you, it's becoming increasingly hard to tell the difference between these systems and a real human. So don't judge based on an interaction you had with an AI voice bot a long time ago. The technology has changed and you don't know how that bot was built. As you'll see later in this video, very little changes to the bot's settings, prompts, or even switching to a different voice technology provider can transform the whole experience. I don't want to just talk about it. Let me show you a quick demo. There will be no cuts. The latency will be in real time so that you can understand how long it takes to respond and how natural it sounds. Hello?
Hello, this is Scarlett from Beaux-Arts Dental Clinic. Is this Patricia?
Yes, it's Patricia.
Awesome. I'm just calling to confirm your upcoming appointment for teeth whitening with Dr. Wilson on the 15th of August at 8:45 a.m. Will you be able...
For what, sorry? Which procedure?
Oh, no problem. It's for teeth whitening with Dr. Wilson.
Oh,
so
teeth
will
whitening,
you,
I see.
be able...
I see. Okay, yeah, continue.
Great. So will you be able to attend this appointment as scheduled?
Yeah, I'll make it.
Awesome. We're looking well forward to seeing you then. Bye.
Bye-bye. And that's how it works. Okay, so the three tools I'm going to overview today are Synthflow, Blend AI, and Vapi. Each of them has its advantages depending on your use case, and that's why I decided to break down all three of them and then you decide which one is the right choice for you depending on your particular needs. Synthflow is the go-to tool for anyone who wants to get up and running quickly without a steep learning curve. It is designed for simplicity and ease of use, making it perfect for those who need to deploy solutions fast, with pre-configured functions and native integrations with platforms like Call.com, Go High Level, Zapier, and HubSpot. It has a monthly subscription model, and you always have access to the latest and most advanced large language models, no matter which package you choose. Next up, we have Blend AI. It offers a bit more customizable and fine-tuned experience. Let's say you can actually fine-tune the responses provided by the AI agent, but you'd have to work more on it. You'd have to apply more efforts to build it up and fine-tune the whole workflow. It offers conversational pathways where you create nodes for each step during the conversation. It reminds me of the way you build chatbots in VoiceFlow, for example, where you also have to build the whole workflow step by step. So with Blend AI, you can replicate most functions of Synthflow and more. However, it comes at the cost of requiring a bit more technical know-how and more time to build it up. Blend AI offers a pay-as-you-go model, which means you don't have to commit to a monthly plan. You can pay per minute of conversation. Next up, we have Vapi. Vapi is focused on developers, okay? It offers the highest level of flexibility because it merely provides the infrastructure for AI voice system, but the advanced features, the whole logic must be built outside and then connected with Vapi. So it's perfect for tech-savvy users who want full control over their setup. With Vapi, you can choose different tech providers at each step of the workflow. I mean, providers for transcribing and text-to-speech, etc. Similarly to Blend AI, it operates on a pay-as-you-go model, but with Blend AI, it is a fixed price per minute. Here, the price per minute can be different depending on the tech providers you use. Here is a little chart illustrating where I personally would place these tools in terms of ease of use versus technical requirements. So yes, I believe using Vapi, you could build the most customizable solution, but it would require the most technical expertise. I must say though that these tools are evolving very fast and they may change their position on this chart. Synthflow, for example, has introduced custom actions which were not there a few months ago. So it is not as limited anymore, and you can also implement more functions into your assistant, which in my opinion makes it more competitive than before. That said, let's move on to the practical tutorials, and I'll start with Synthflow. I'm going to walk you through this tool and its capabilities, and then together we'll create an AI appointment setter. The scenario for the workflow is based on a dummy roofing company. So they have a website where leads can submit a form with their name, phone number, and email address. The voice agent will then automatically call those leads to first qualify them for a free roof inspection, and second, schedule an appointment for the inspection and book it into our calendar. Once you sign up with Synthflow, let's click Start from Scratch, and we are going to build an outbound assistant. Just something to mention right away, you'll need to upgrade at least to the starter package to follow along because they don't have a free version. Okay, so that said, let's configure our assistant. First of all, let's call it roofing company assistant, then language English. Let's just select the default voice. AI model would be GPT-4, always good actually. Remember, the most advanced model is already included in their package, so I suggest you use the best model available. Then patience level, 1 second is all right. Custom greeting, instead of hi there, let's use hi there is this, and then we'll add a variable for the first name. Okay, then enable recordings, all good. Now let's go to the prompt. This is the default one. I have my prompt already prepared right here, so I'll just copy it and paste it to Synthflow. This is for a dummy roofing company. Your primary goal is to engage with prospects who express interest in our roofing services through website forms or direct inquiries. Your goal is to book a free roof inspection and estimate, ensuring the prospect meets our qualifying criteria. Then we have some instructions, the script, some FAQs, and the final notes. Also, if you want, you can add a knowledge base here. A little tip for you. You can adjust this prompt to your needs. I've done a lot of work to properly structure this prompt, so you don't need to do the same. You can just copy this prompt. It will be available in my resource hub, in my school community. So you just need to join my school group, then find a little YouTube tab called YouTube Resources, find a post with this video, and you can access all the resources mentioned, including this prompt. Just copy it, then go to ChatGPT or Claude, for example, and say, create a prompt for an AI color for my, let's say, plumbing company, following the same structure as below, and then paste my prompt, okay? Hit enter and wait for it to generate a ready-to-use prompt. Then you just need to revise it, kind of adapt to your business context, and you can use it for your purposes. Once you have your prompt ready and have added your knowledge base, what we need to do next is set up actions. Okay, what we want to set up is real-time booking. So click Add, New Action, Create, and we are going to use cal.com. For cal.com, you just need to sign up. I'm already signed up, obviously. Let me just enter my profile. Okay, this is your cal.com dashboard. You need to go to Settings and create your API keys. Add a new one. Let's call it Tutorial Synthflow Roofing, something like that. Never expires. Save. Once you have it, just copy it, go back to your assistant, paste it here, and connect. Then you need to select event types. I already have them populated here because I created them before, so I'll just select 15-minute meeting and click next. But when you set it up for the first time, you'll find your event ID in cal.com. When you go to a meeting, this is the meeting ID, okay? So we'll have to paste this ID into Synthflow when creating an event type. All right, enter your email, and then you can adjust the time zone, days for offering dates, appointment slots per day, interval between slots, all of that, and then click Save. All right, once that's saved, our action is created. So let's go back to the assistant, actions, and we can add this action. Now it is displayed here, looks great. We have our prompt ready, we have our action set up, and the last step is deployment. For deployment, you need your phone number, right? So I suggest that you use Twilio. We use Twilio to get phone numbers all the time. So all you need to do is sign up with Twilio. Once you sign up, just go to phone numbers, then manage and buy a phone number. It's very cheap. You can buy it for like $1.15 per month. Just click buy, acknowledge all the compliance stuff, and you can buy the number. Okay, once you have it, go back to your account dashboard, and you need to paste this account SID and authentication token. In order to do this, just go to integrations, then to Twilio, and here you need to paste this account ID and authentication token from your Twilio account. Once it is integrated, you'll see a number available. So let's go back to the assistant, deployment, and here you'll be able to select that number from Twilio. Looks good. Now for deployment, we are going to use Zapier. It's a great workflow automation tool, and we can do different automations here. For example, we can integrate it with cal.com, but in my case, I'd like to demonstrate how it works with simple Google spreadsheets, okay? You can use like regular Google Forms, and whenever a new lead submits a form, it will appear as a new row in your Google spreadsheets. We'll have a phone number, first name, last name, and email. And every time a new row appears, an outbound call will be triggered. Okay, so how to set it up? First of all, let's switch this off. That's my previous automation. Turn it off, close, and let's set up this automation from scratch. Obviously, you need to have an account with Zapier. Once you log in, The first step is to connect your Google Sheets. Trigger event, new spreadsheets row, account just connects your Google Spreadsheets account. Then you need to select your spreadsheet and the worksheet as well. Continue, test trigger, and continue to the selected record. Yeah, it's very straightforward, to be honest. That's the whole beauty of this Synthflow tool. Very straightforward. You just you even have the whole integration with Zapier, where this window is natively embedded into Synthflow, right? So I didn't leave it. I'm still on Synthflow side, but I'm creating my automation in Zapier. That's really cool. Now we are on the second step. We need to configure our Synthflow integration. The action event will be create call, and the account will be automatically pre-populated here. Now, what's important is the model ID, okay? So in order to find your model ID, you need to go to your assistants, just open your assistant, and here you will see your model ID. Copy it and paste it here. Then we just need to have the phone number. Let's delete this placeholder, and instead I want to use variables that will be populated from my Google Spreadsheets. So phone number, name, again, I don't want to use a static one, I want to use variables. You see, these are the same that you can see in my spreadsheet. Okay, then you can also use more custom variables if you need. Like a city or anything you want to populate in your spreadsheet. And then lead email is the same. We don't need this placeholder. We want to use emails that are pulled from our table, right? So I'll use the relevant variable. All right. The prompt can be empty because we already have one in our assistant settings. And now you can test this step. So if you do it right and everything works, you should receive a call. And here it goes. So I received a call. Let's answer it.
You can remove this message at any time by upgrading to a full account. Press any key to execute your code.
Hey there, is this Bodan?
Hey, yes, who is this?
Hi, Bodan. This is Scarlett from Superior Roofing Solutions. I'm reaching out because you recently showed interest in our roofing services. Do you have a moment to discuss how we can assist with your roofing needs?
Yeah, I have like 2 minutes.
Fantastic. To ensure we provide the best possible service, may I ask a few quick questions about your roofing situation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you currently own the property that requires roofing services?
Yes, I do.
Is your property located within a 50-mile radius of Austin, Texas?
Yes, it is in Austin.
Are you looking for a repair, replacement, or maintenance service for your roof?
I want to replace it completely.
Based on what you've shared, it sounds like our free roof inspection and estimate could be the perfect starting point for you. We can assess your needs and discuss our durable, high-quality roofing solutions. How does Tuesday at 10 a.m. or Wednesday at 3 p.m. work for you to schedule this inspection?
Yeah, I think we can do it on Wednesday. Let's do it on Wednesday.
Great. I have you scheduled for Wednesday at 3 p.m.
Okay. So it worked. In the beginning, I received that message that you have a trial account. In order to execute the code, press any button. And that's because I am having trial account right now, but it will be removed once you upgrade. Other than that, it went pretty well. It booked an appointment in my calendar, and it also asks me all the qualification questions according to the script. Now we can click publish. Let's wait until it's published. And that's done. The workflow is turned on. Now, whenever you create a new row here, the call will be triggered. And afterwards, you can go and check all the transcripts and call recordings here. All right, let's also quickly cover their pricing, as it might seem a bit high at first glance. You'd pay $450 per month if you go for the Pro package. It doesn't feel cheap, right? But if you divide it by the included amount of minutes, it would be $450 divided by 2,500 minutes, which results in 18 cents per month. assuming that you use up all the 2,500 minutes, right? So 18 cents doesn't sound that bad, right? Especially considering that they have all these pre-configured integrations and you can use the latest and most expensive large language models which are already included. If you go for the growth package, you'd get a dedicated success manager, meaning you'll be invited to a Slack channel where you can get guidance, with building these assistants directly from their team members. I think that's very valuable. And there is also an agency package which gives you your own white label platform. This allows you to resell this tool as an agency, for example, under your own brand. And you can create sub-accounts, you can add your company name, logo, custom domain, and your clients will get a dashboard with full visibility. So it's pretty cool. There are also native integrations, as I mentioned, with Zapier, HubSpot, and Go High Level, all the popular ones. So to summarize, I'd say that Synthflow offers the most package solution where you require little to no technical background to set everything up. All right, moving forward, we've got Blend AI. I'm going to walk you through the main features of Blend AI, and after that, I'll show you how to build an AI voice agent that acts as an appointment setter for a dummy dental clinic. At the heart of Blend AI is something called conversational pathways. Think of these as flowcharts that guide how your AI agent interacts with users. Each step in the pathway corresponds to a specific user input or action. And unlike Synthflow, where we have one general prompt or instruction, here we have an instruction for each step of the workflow, or other words, for each node. So now let's talk about nodes. Nodes are like building blocks of your pathways. Each node represents a point in the conversation where the AI will perform an action or ask a question. For instance, one node could be asking the user for their reservation date, while the next node sends the API request to a third-party tool. Nodes can be linked together to create complex interactions, and you can even add conditions to ensure the AI only moves forward to the next node when it has all the necessary information. And the conditions are super important in Blend AI because they make your agent smarter. Essentially, conditions are criteria that must be met before the AI moves on to the next node. Let's say you are building a pathway for booking a table. Okay, you'd want to make sure the user has provided all essential details like date, time, and number of guests before proceeding. This prevents your agent from getting stuck or moving forward without complete information. The next important element is global nodes. Toggle this if you want to make this node accessible from any other node. When you add a global node, it will look like this, labeled as global, and our agent can access it from anywhere in the conversation. These are perfect for handling FAQs or emergency situations. So this is a place where I usually add a knowledge base that can be accessed again from anywhere within the conversation under specific conditions. There is also a global prompt, which is an underlying prompt that's invisibly kind of present in every node of your AI agent. It serves as the guiding context for the entire conversation. It is usually used to define the agent's personality and tone. Next up, we have pathway labels. Labels are like signposts that guide your AI through different user intents. Okay? They help the agent decide which pathway to follow based on the user's input. For instance, if a user is asking for a reservation for less than 8 guests, the system will go to the reservation booking node. But if the number of guests is more than 8, then it will go to another node which will transfer the call. The key to effective labels is simplicity and clarity. You want to avoid overly complex or descriptive labels. Also, Blend considers labels only after the current node's condition is satisfied. So you wanna set clear conditions that should be met before moving to the next node. Next up, API integration and webhooks. These features allow your AI to interact with external systems in real time. It can extract call information into variables such as date, time, and number of people, for example, and then pass them via API to third-party tools such as make.com. For example, if your agent is booking appointments, it can check availability through an API and update the reservation system automatically. This is where it becomes interesting because it isn't just about conversation, it's also about action. And I will demonstrate how to establish API integration in a moment, but for now, let's talk about fine-tuning. Blend AI allows you to fine-tune your conversation pathways, and to me, that's a very important phase of the whole system setup. You can do it with dialogue examples, pathway examples, and condition examples. In practice, we usually build the system and then start testing it with different scenarios. During your testing, you can see the pathway decision information on the right and fine-tune it or provide the correct decision so that in the next iteration it will make decisions according to your corrections. So there is a lot of work involved in fine-tuning, iterating and testing your agent before rolling it out to real customers. Now I'm gonna show you an AI voice agent that I built in Blend AI. It should act as an appointment setter for a dummy dental clinic, let's call it Bossar Dental Clinic. It should get users' details, then the desired procedure, as well as date and time for the appointment. And then it should also check the availability for that date and time and book the appointment live during the call. So I'm going to walk you through each node step by step. I'm going to show you everything, how it is set up here. Also, I'll guide you through my make.com scenario because I want you to understand how to actually make it workable in terms of checking the available slots in Google Calendar, then creating an event and passing the information back to Blend AI. So this is my system, very basic one. The first step to do is to set up global prompt, which sets the tonality and personality of the agent, and also create a global node with my knowledge base. Okay, global prompt here is you are a friendly, compassionate, and professional virtual receptionist named Bossar Dental Clinic. Blah, blah, blah. Your primary goal is to assist callers by providing accurate information. And a few notes, be sure to be kind and funny and witty. Keep all your responses short and simple. So this is to describe the personality. By the way, I'll include this prompt in my resource hub as well. And this is just a dummy knowledge base that I created with ChatGPT specifically for this demo, okay? So those are just some basic information about my dummy dental clinic, like opening hours, location, mission statement, and so on. All right, so once that's set up, let's start. The first node is to greet the user and provide customer service. Because we don't know, maybe they just want to find out where the dental clinic is located, right? They don't want to book an appointment right away. Here you can make it static text, so it can always say like, "Hi, welcome to Bossar Dental," or you can make it a prompt and then the AI will come up with a different greeting every time. So I like this one better. Then we have a loop condition, which is very important. So in order to move on to the next node, to the next step, I want to set up a condition that the user wants to book an appointment. So once the user expressed clearly that they want to schedule an appointment, only then we move on to the next node. So there is a pathway label, user wants to book an appointment, which indicates that the AI should move on to the next step. The next step is get appointment details. So let's open up this node. The prompt here is ask the user for their name, procedure, and preferred date and time for the appointment. Then we have a loop condition again. So before moving on to the next node, the user must have given these 4 data points before moving on: name, procedure, preferred date and for the appointment, and preferred time for the appointment. Now this is a clear condition. It is structured in a good way. Just to give you a tip how it would be structured badly, it would sound like the user has provided all the details, or in an unclear way of constructing this condition would be not separating all these data points that need to be gathered. Then everything is turned off here. So we have our prompt, condition, and let's move on. So once we've gathered all 4 data points, we are going to move on to the booking node. It is a webhook type of the nodes, because I don't know if I mentioned this, but there are different types of nodes. So when you add a new node, it can be a default node, knowledge base, transfer call, end call, webhook. So not many of them, but there are different types. So webhook is a node which is supposed to communicate with a third-party platform. It might be our own server with our custom code where the whole logic is built, or it might be a no-code tool like make.com, for example. In this case, we use make.com, and let me walk you through it step by step because it is quite confusing for people with no development background. So node type is webhook. Then we have extract call information into variables. Let's see. So we have 4 variables here: date, time, name, and procedure. Then we have a little description for each variable. The type is string. The description here is desired date of appointment, free form, use the same formulation as asked for. If they say tomorrow, pass on just tomorrow. It is supposed to be able to understand which time is now and then construct this date variable in a specific date and pass it as a specific date, but for some reason it didn't work well for me. For some reason it passed the current date as 2023, which is wrong. So I decided to make it this way, and then I will use ChatGPT to understand what tomorrow means. Okay, we'll get there. Then we have time, we have name, and procedure. You might ask, how do we know which variables are possible to pass, which kind of type we should select here? So it is all included in the documentation provided by Blend, so you can check it there. Then we have webhook as the next sector of this node. Webhook, we should use post because we are sending details. Like post when you send, get when you get some information. And here we should input our webhook URL from Blend, from make.com. If you go to your webhook, this is a basic module in make.com. Just copy this to a clipboard and paste it here. Then we have body. So this is a JSON construct that we should pass over to make.com. And these are our variables. Again, the construct here is completely taken from Blend AI's documentation. So there is no confusion with that. They provide a clear structure for that. All right, then we should receive some information back from our server, from make.com in this case. And within that response, we should get the status for the reservation, whether it's successful or not, and also available slots. So I've set up my make.com scenario in a way that if the reservation is successful, if there are available slots, I'll get reservation success equals true. But if the desired time and date is already unavailable, so it will send reservation success false. And along with this status for reservation success, it will also check for available slots and offer some available slots for the appointment. Then it will use this status that I received from make.com. I'll show you the whole scenario in make.com in a second. But then once it receives the information back from make.com, there are 2 possible pathways. The first one is if reservation success is false. So if it is false, it will go to offer new time slots, and here tell the user that there are no more slots for that given date and time. Give 2 alternatives to the user given that available slots you have and ask which one is the most convenient. Then we have a condition. User has chosen a time slot, and once that's done, it will go back to our webhook node right here, and it will repeat the same procedure. It will go to make.com, it will check the availability and either schedule an appointment, or it will be unavailable again, and then it will go back to this node. If the reservation success is true, then it will go to the last node, which is end call. It will thank the user and confirm the appointment details. Thank the user and confirm the appointment details. That's it. Very basic system. So to me, the most confusing part is setting up these variables and webhook. And I spent 2 days, to debug this and understand how to work with this. I'm not a developer. I have a developing team, so they do all of this stuff for our agency. But to me, this was a challenging part. But let me show you how it's done. So the first module is just a webhook. You just get the webhook URL from here and paste it into Blend AI. Let me just run it once and get some data to show you an example. So at any time during building this agent, you can test pathway, and you can use this chatbot to test it out. So how can I help today? Hi, I want to book an appointment. Here on the right, by the way, you can see the whole workflow, right? And this is the place where you can fine tune decisions, right? So it has chosen a pathway decision to go to the next node. Here, condition achieved true, chosen pathway, user wants to book an appointment. But if for some reason that was wrong, you can actually change the chosen pathway, and this way you fine tune the model, because next time, I mean, not the large language model, but the agent, because next time it will choose the pathway that you selected here. And let's move on. Can you please start by telling me your name? Yes. Bogdan. What procedure are you looking? Just general checkup. That's great. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., let's say. So it's checking the availability. All right, Bogdan, I've got you scheduled for a general checkup tomorrow at 2 p.m. Action executed and call. Let us just see which kind of variables have been passed to make.com. So here you can see we used webhook URL, webhook method post, and then we had webhook body tomorrow, 2 p.m., Bogdan, general checkup. So if it works well, make.com should have received this data. And within these little bubbles, you can check what was the output, and you can see date tomorrow, time 2 p.m., name Bogdan, and procedure general checkup. So it worked well. While we are here, let me check my calendar and just see that it is now booked. So tomorrow is Saturday, Bogdan, general checkup, it is in my calendar, so it worked. Okay, in make.com, once we receive this data, the first thing to do is to convert this tomorrow into a proper date and time format. So in ChatGPT module, you can connect your OpenAI account, you will add your API key, select the model, then the prompt here, the message content is, we have just asked the user when they would like to book an appointment. You will be provided with the current date and their response. You must output the date and time they would like to book the meeting in date-time format. Only output the date time in, and then I provide the format for the date and time. And I state that it should be in a set time zone, which is appropriate for Poland. I am based in Poland, and that's it. So I just tell it to output the date and time in an appropriate format. And then there is another message for ChatGPT. This is the current date and time, and this function is basically provided by make.com. So I provide what time is now, which day is today, so it is not confused, and this is when the user would like to book. And I provide the variables that we gathered from the webhook, right? So when you click here, you'll see, first of all, when you hover over these variables, this first module is starting to pop, so it indicates that the variables are taken from the previous module. And also you can see which specific variables have been fetched from Blend AI. Okay, so that works well. Let's hit OK. And by the way, to make it completely smooth, I suggest that you always stick to the same time zone in your scenario or in your make.com account, and then specify the time zone in ChatGPT prompt as well. So just a little hint for you, go to your profile in make.com, and here you can go to time zone options and select your time zone. Okay, so let's get back to our scenario. The next step is to get the available slots from Google Calendar. So we go to Google Calendar module, you connect your Google account. Here we have minimum time and as an input, we have the result from our previous module from ChatGPT. You see, according to my prompt, it converted our variable tomorrow to an appropriate date and time format. So we just use the output from ChatGPT, which is called results here, as an input for this next module for Google Calendar. And then we have a minimum time for our appointment and maximum time, which stipulates by when our appointment should end. And I have 45 minutes as a default amount of time for my appointments. This add minutes result 45 is a default function by make.com. Again, you can find more information on them using make.com documentation, or another way is to use their AI helper here. So this chatbot, AI assistant, it is very helpful. So whenever you need any advice on make.com scenario or particular blogs, you can use this one. Highly suggested. All right, you just connect your calendar ID here and move on to the next module. The next one is router. So we want to move to this path if our time slot is available, and if not, we will go to this one. How do you set this up? So we label it available, set the route as a fallback no, and the condition to follow this path is if here the output from Google Calendar, right? You go to your calendar and you use variable busy. So it will be created only when it is busy. So the logic is that if this time slot is busy, then this variable will be created and the condition will be satisfied. If this time slot is available, then this variable will not be created, and then we will fall back because the condition for this path is just fallback, you know. So if there is no unavailable slots during that given time requirement, then we will follow this path. I hope that's clear. So anyway, if the time slot is available, we are going to create an event. So you'd select a Google Calendar module in make.com, which would be called create an event. Again, connect your Google Calendar, event name. So I just use the variables that I fetched from Blend AI. Name would be Bogdan in this case, and procedure general checkup. And then start date, which would be again the output from ChatGPT when I converted that, tomorrow variable into a specific start date for the appointment. That's it. Then you just need to complete a few settings here, the default settings which apply to Google Calendar events. Nothing complicated here. Click OK. And the last thing to do is to pass the information back to Blend AI. So when you go to add new blog and select webhooks, just select webhook response, and by default, it will communicate the information back to your Blend AI agent. You just need to add the body, what should be communicated. And in my case, let's delete this one. In my case, I just want to communicate that reserved true. So the status for my reservation is true. Again, this is the simplest possible JSON construct, but it communicates the status of my reservation well, so it works. Let's quickly go through this second path if there are no available slots for that required time and date. The first module here is tools, set variable. All we want to do here is just to create a new variable. It will be called day, and it should specify a specific day when the appointment was requested. So this is again a default function from make.com, format date. We take the result from this module from ChatGPT and convert it into a specific day. The next module is Google Calendar again, get free busy information. That's the same module as here, right? So we are going to use that variable created in the previous module where we specified our day. This is the default function from make.com. We take the beginning of that day and add 24 hours. And this module is going to search for free and busy time slots during that day. Then the next module is ChatGPT again. We are going to find available slots here. But essentially what we want to do with this ChatGPT module is to create the whole response that we are going to pass back to Blend AI. So the message here for ChatGPT is your role is to only output the close alternatives times that the user can book in for. Do not output any notes, text. You must output this in JSON format. Then our prompt is please recommend 2 alternative 45-minute time slots. Here are all the times in the day that are not available. So we are going to provide it with not available time slots, and it will figure out which possible alternatives are available. Okay, you must not recommend any times within these booked slots, and we use the variable for occupied for unavailable time slots. Here's the time they tried to book in for, but this time was not available. And here we have our result, you remember, from ChatGPT module here, where we converted the desired date and time into an appropriate format. So we provided with unavailable time slots, we provided it with desired date and time, and we are asking it to recommend the alternatives that are close to the initial booking time. This is the current time. You must ensure it is not earlier than this, obviously. And please recommend 2 times that would be available for booking. Then, and this is important, please output the times in JSON format, for example, and this is just a template, like a placeholder for the structure of the output. Reserved false and available slots, and then I have an array of variables. You must ensure the time slots are recommended are available. Please refer to the unavailable times. Just, the most important information in your prompting should always be included in the end, because then there is a higher probability that ChatGPT would consider it. That's it. Let's click OK. And then final webhook response. For the body, I just used the result from the previous ChatGPT module, right? Because I already asked it to provide an output in JSON format, and then I just use that JSON format as a body that will be sent to Blend AI. We already have a booking for Saturday for 2 p.m. So theoretically, if I ask it to book for 2 p.m., it should go this way and get back to me with more alternatives. Let's test it out. Actually, let's test it out by calling it, okay? I'll send a call, put my number here. Let's send a call. All right, so I'm getting a call.
Hi, this is Bozar Dental Clinic. How can I help you today?
Hi, I'd like to schedule an appointment.
Can you please start by telling me your name?
My name is Bo.
So, Bo, what procedure are you looking to schedule an appointment for?
Just a general checkup.
So, Bo, for your general checkup, when were you thinking of coming in? Do you have a preferred date in mind?
Yes, tomorrow, 2 p.m.
Let me just check our availability real quick.
Sure.
Okay, Bo, it looks like we have an opening at 2 p.m. tomorrow. I can go ahead and schedule that for you. Would you like to confirm? I apologize, Bo, but it looks like we're all booked up for tomorrow at 2 p.m. We do have 2 other options available, though. We have a 1 p.m. or a 3 p.m. slot open tomorrow. Which one of those would be more convenient for you?
Okay, 3 p.m. would work for me.
All right, Bo, I've got you scheduled for 3 p.m. tomorrow. We'll make sure to get you all fixed up. Is there anything specific you'd like to address during your appointment, or just a general checkup?
All right, so it is a bit messy. As you see, first it replied, okay, we have a time slot. Then it needed a bit more time, and it corrected itself and said, oh no, we don't have availability for that required time slot, but I can offer 2 alternatives. So it worked well. I have the general checkup event in my calendar now, so it booked it successfully. It went through this path, but that's how it looks, guys. And the system looks well, but again, I'll repeat, in order to make it work in real life, I'd have to iterate many times, I'd have to fine-tune it, and it would look much more comprehensive, to be honest. Let me just show you the marketplace from Blend AI. So basically, other users of Blend AI can now create these pathways and place them on marketplace. You can just go there and take it and use it. I'm not sure if it is paid or it can be paid and free, I don't know, but it exists. So let me just show you how crazy these systems can look like. So this is probably a workable solution. You see how many nodes, you see how many pathways, because there are many different scenarios that can be followed. And I just wanted to show you the logic of this workflow, okay? So I hope that helped. The whole make.com scenario will be included in my resource hub. You can access it in my school community. So let me just show you. Go to my school group, join the group, just provide your email address, join the group, and then you can go to YouTube resources over here, this tab. And for each video that I post, I will prepare the resource hub within that post. You just open the post with a new video, and you'll be able to download all these resources that I discuss in my video. Before we wrap up, a few tips for building effective agents with Blend AI. First, start with global nodes for common tasks like answering FAQs that might come up at any point in the conversation. This will ensure that your agent can handle these tasks without breaking the whole flow. The next one is test and iterate. I've said it already, it will take a few iterations to get everything right, but make sure you do it and use fine-tuning if you want to achieve a more reliable system. And work with conditions. To me, that's the best way to kind of steer the flow of the conversation. You don't want the AI to come up with stuff on its own, which it will do unless you set proper conditions. And when it comes to pricing, they offer a pay-as-you-go model. They say Blend costs 9 cents per minute only for connected calls, and it's built down to the exact second, so it's quite flexible. The last tool on our list is Vapi. Everything you can do with Blend or Synthflow, you can do with Vapi. You can even achieve the same workflow as you get with conversational pathways, but you'd have to code it. However, not everything you can do with Vapi can be done in Blend. And let me explain what I mean. So here's an illustration of what happens when we use our AI voice agents. There is a caller, it goes to Blend AI, then at a certain point, it can communicate with your logic platform. It can be your servers with a custom code or a no-code solution like make.com in our case. Then within this logic platform, and by the way, this API communication from our previous agent, it happens here, right? Webhook node. So we've got webhook, and the moment we trigger this URL via post method, we communicate with our logic platform. Then our logic platform communicates with ChatGPT, with Calendar, or other third-party tools. It happens right here via API. There is ChatGPT module, Google Calendar module. We get some new variables, and then we pass them back to Blend AI. Under the hood, within Blend AI, there is some code, right? So all the information about our AI agent is included within our JSON assistant. So when we get some variables from our logic platform, we replace some dynamic variables within our assistant JSON. And that's how we update our agent, and it moves on. With Vapi, there is the same logic, right? There is a caller, a Vapi, API, communication with logic platform, and so on. But instead of, we can just send a few variables back to Vapi, so dynamic variables, but also there is a possibility to retrieve the whole new JSON on demand during the conversation, depending on your needs. For example, imagine there is a CRM, right? And within your CRM, there are different profiles with different tags, different variables. So we can build our logic in a way that depending on the profile of your customer, the corresponding JSON file would be retrieved, sent to Vapi, and it would execute that particular code. That gives a lot of flexibility. That's why if you are a developer and you can custom code the whole logic yourself, Vapi is definitely the most flexible tool here. And usually we use Vapi. We have a team of developers, we build everything outside, and with Vapi we just use the infrastructure for the voice tag and LLM processing that they provide. Now I'm gonna give you an overview of the Vapi platform, and we'll build an outbound AI caller, which is going to be a pre-appointment reminder where the AI will call a list of leads, a list of bookings, and remind about their appointments. So it will go through a list of leads, call each of them, and basically confirm the attendance for a particular procedure that is stipulated in our Google spreadsheet. Okay, we have different columns here: number, first name, last name, date, time, procedure, and doctor. So how it works: first thing to do after you sign up with Vapi is to sort out your billing. Just attach your credit card and you'll be able to use the tool. The second thing to do is to sort out the phone number. You can import one from Twilio or Vonage or buy one directly from Vapi. Very convenient, no troubles here. Then we can go to assistants and create one. Let me just show you all the settings here, and then we'll go to make.com to show you the logic platform. Okay, so first thing first is first message. Hello, this is Scarlett from Bosar Dental Clinic. By the way, this whole prompt will be attached to my resource hub in school, so you can use it. Just copy this one, paste it into ChatGPT or Claude, add your business details and ask to use the same structure and kind of redo the same prompt but for your needs. Just a little tip for you. Anyway, let me show you all the settings here and then we'll move forward to make.com. So the first stage is model. Here we are going to provide, let me just switch to my Scarlett assistant. So we are going to provide system prompt and first message. My prompt is designed according to the best practices. There is a role, a task, specifics, context, what we do, our business, and then there is example script. So the idea is for it to be a very concise conversation, right? Hello, this is Scarlett from Bosar Dental Clinic. Is this name? So this is a variable, a dynamic variable for a name. How did I know to structure it this way with two curly brackets? I just went to Vapi documentation, searched for dynamic variables, and they explained that I should use this kind of structure, in case you wondered. Okay, yes, that's right. Wonderful. I'm just going to confirm your upcoming appointment for procedure, doctor, date, time. All these variables should be pulled from my table by make.com and then passed back to Vapi. Okay, and then there are some notes on the tone and personality of the assistant, as well as this clause: keep all your responses short and simple. Use casual language, phrases like well, I mean, etc. Okay, here on the right hand side we can select the provider. Very flexible, right? You can choose OpenAI, you can choose Perplexity, Grok, Anthropic, anything you want. I like to use OpenAI because I am sure they support the functions that are required. You can select the model. 3.5 turbo is all right. You can attach your knowledge base that contains all the information about your business. The temperature, I like to keep it all as it is set by default. So I just leave it at 1. Max tokens. Again, so it is good to have this limit for AI callers because you don't want it to ramble far too long. You know, you want to limit the length of the response to make it conversational. That's why I think 250, which is the default one, and it is good for me. And then there is a new thing here which wasn't here before. So as I said, the tools are evolving like crazy. Detect emotion. What it means: enable this property to detect users' emotion, such as anger, joy, etc. Yeah, I turned it on. The direct audio input is not ready yet, right? So the technology is not able to recognize your emotion based on your intonation, whether it's louder or quieter. No, but now they implemented this feature and it should allow it to recognize the emotion based on text. Remember, there is voice to text, then there is text input for the LLM, then there is text output and text to speech. Okay, let's move on. The second step is transcriber. Here you can select the provider for the transcription. DeepGram is good, never had any complaints about it. So I just stick to DeepGram. The next step is voice. Here you can select the provider. I love 11 Labs. They have a great library of available voices. Also, if you need to use another language, like other than English, they have a great multilingual model here. And also, if you change the provider, for example, to this one, you'll see that the estimated cost here is changing because they break it down by provider. There is a fixed cost for Vapi, 5 cents, then for DeepCram for speech recognition, then for LLM processing. If we use GPT-4, for example, instead of GPT 3.5 Turbo, we would pay more. And then there is the cost for text to speech. So Cartesia in this case is cheaper than 11 Labs, but I like 11 Labs more, so I'll stick to 11 Labs. There are some additional configuration. For example, background sound. You can select Office or just turn it off. I like the Office background sound, so I'll keep it. And there are some more additional configuration settings. They are all pretty much self-explanatory. For example, filler injection enabled. This determines whether fillers are injected into the model output before inputting it into the voice provider or not. Filler words are, they are designed to fill the gaps. These are sounds like and sounds like this. All right, then we have functions. So this is what we need to make it workable when we need to pass some information to third-party tools, right? So you can create tools. Let's see, create new tool. I'm not going to use this for that particular assistant, but I'll show you how to create them quickly. Just go to new tool. We use make.com. We need to paste our webhook URL here. So let's see, from blend AI scenario, let's just take this URL, copy address to clipboard, then paste it here, save. And then essentially there is just a different UI, but the same logic as we did here with blend AI. You remember we had webhook node where we stipulated which kind of variables we want to pass, and then we pass them via this webhook URL to make.com. So the same here, property name would be date, for example, describe the property's purpose, its use, date for the appointment, save. So this would be passed as a variable within this function whenever it's called. Click next. Let's name it booking. Create. You can describe it, its purpose. So whenever our user is trying to book an appointment, create. All right, so now we have a tool or function. It's essentially the same. It is created, and now we have our tool created, and we can basically add to our prompt, like here in the end, let's say, run the booking tool when a customer wants to schedule an appointment. So this way, once our user expresses a desire to book an appointment, we would send this API request to make.com, and then basically the same logic would happen as we did with Blend AI. All right, let's get back to our steps. So these are functions. There are some predefined functions like enable end call function or dial keypad. For example, if they do outbound calling and they need to press 5 to be redirected to sales department, so then this assistant would be able to press 5. And forwarding phone number. So if we wanted to forward the call to human representatives, for example, at a certain point or according to some conditions, then we could stipulate our forwarding phone number here. That's pretty much it. There are some advanced settings like audio recording, video recording, etc. All of them are again very, very clear. There are very good descriptions right here. For example, silence timeout, so how long to wait before a call is automatically ended due to inactivity. And so if a customer was silent for 30 seconds, the call would be ended automatically. So pretty cool. A lot of features here. I really like how it's evolving. For example, this analysis tab was not here a few months ago. Now we can get summaries, success evaluation, structured data, all would be done by AI. So I really like how fast these tools are evolving. All right, let's go to make.com and see how our scenario looks like. The whole purpose of this make.com scenario is to extract data from this table, right, to get the variables and then pass them to Vapi. That's it. Let me break down how it works. The first module is search rows, so we just connect our Google spreadsheets here and search for available rows. Then we have array aggregator and iterator. Well, we are going to select our columns here, right? We have number, first name, last name, date, time, just like here, and then we have iterator. So I tried to formulate how to explain them, how to describe them, but I decided to show you how I'd check it out if I were you. I'd just go to this AI beta assistant and asked what are array aggregator and iterator. So array aggregator combines multiple bundles of data into a single array. Okay, when you need to collect data from multiple sources and process them together. Example, aggregating rows from multiple Google spreadsheets into a single array for further processing. Iterator, it splits an array into individual bundles to process each item separately. For example, you can send individual emails to each contact in an aggregated list. So in our case, we want to process all these rows separately and call all these numbers individually. All right, I hope that makes sense. But essentially, we get some variables out of our Google spreadsheets thanks to these two modules. Then we have two ChatGPT modules. The goal of each of them is just to convert our date into a proper format. So I say, I will provide you with a date in the format day, months, year, just like it is right here. And I ask it to, your task is to convert this date into a readable, human-friendly format. Output only the result, nothing else. Here are some examples. 0310 2024 becomes the 3rd of October. Here's the input date that you should convert. And I input my variable that was pulled from the previous module from iterator for the date, of course. And then exactly the same for time. So I will provide you with the time format like this, and I want you to convert it into 3 p.m. examples and my variable for time. So it will be pulled from here, obviously. All right, and then our last module here is to send a request to Vapi. So how to configure this? It might be confusing if you are a non-developer. So let me explain. I'd go to Vapi documentation, and in Vapi documentation, there is API reference, there is create call, and it is very self-explanatory here. So method should be post, right? So we select post. Then there is headers. Let's look for headers. There are headers here. Authorization, bearer, token. So it should be my API key, right? Authorization, retrieve your API key from dashboard. Let's go to dashboard. Let me see. Okay, no, let's just go to my profile, and here you can find API keys. So just copy your API key, then go to make.com, type bearer, space, and paste your API key. That's what I did. Then we have the second header. It is content type application JSON. Again, how did I know that I need to type exactly this content type and application JSON? In our example in documentation, we had content type as a header, application JSON. All right, and then we need to send the body for that JSON. So we select body type raw and then content type JSON, application JSON, and request content. By the way, how do we know like which kind of structure should be here? Again, if you have no technical background, it might be quite confusing. So what I did, having no technical background, I went to Ask AI. This is so helpful that all these tools have now AI assistants. And I just asked how to call an assistant via API. Give me the most basic JSON template. And it replied, to call an assistant via API using the most basic JSON template, you can use the following structure. it provided me with this structure. And then it explained that you need to replace assistant ID, you need to replace number ID, and phone number ID. Replace your phone ID with the ID in your registered phone number. So phone number ID is my number that is attached to Vapi, and customer number is the number that should be called. So in my case, it should be pulled from this table. Okay, so let me just show you where to find assistant ID. Assistant ID can be found right here. You just copy it here and then paste it. And phone number ID also here. You go to phone numbers, find your phone number, and copy your phone number ID. So this way you will replace assistant ID, right? Phone number ID. And then for customer, I decided to add more variables than just number. And I actually asked again this assistant how to add more variables than just customer number, and it advised that you should go for assistant overrides. I just followed the instructions, variable values, and then I just pasted all these variables that were pulled from my Google spreadsheets, including the outcomes from these two ChatGPT modules, where I converted the date and I converted the time into proper formats. And it is going to paste all of these variables here and then send them to Vapi, right? Again, this Mac.com scenario will be attached in my resource hub. You can download it and play around with it. And then there is sleep tool, which is just a delay between scenario execution. So what it means, I want to call all these numbers because you see I have the same number everywhere. It's my number. So I want to call these numbers one by one with a 60-second delay in between. All right, let's test out the whole thing. I'm going to click run once and let's see how it works. Okay, it's initiated. I should receive a call, and I did. Here's a call. Let's see how it works. Hello?
Hello, this is Scarlett from Beaux-Arts Dental Clinic. Is this Bowden?
Yes, correct.
Awesome. Just calling to, confirm your upcoming appointment for a general checkup with Dr. Martins on the 10th of August, 2024 at 3 p.m. You still good for that?
Yeah, I'm good. I'll make it. Thanks for calling.
Great. We're looking well forward to seeing you then. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, now it should wait until this tool is over and it will call again. And it is calling again. Let's see. Hello?
Hello, this is Scarlett from Beaux-Arts Dental Clinic. Is this Alice?
Yes, this is Alice.
Awesome, Alice. I'm just calling to confirm your upcoming appointment for dental cleaning with Dr. Smith on the 11th of August at 9 a.m. Will you be able to attend?
Cool, yes, I'll make it. Thanks for reminding.
Great. Just doing my part to keep those pearly whites sparkling. Can't wait to see you then. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, and it will go through the whole list until it's done. Everything works well. Again, this is the most, so it's calling again because it needs to go through the whole list now. Anyway, this is the most basic scenario, the most basic structure, I'd say. Usually we would make it much more comprehensive. For example, we would use different numbers to avoid blocking a particular number, because when it calls huge amount of numbers, it might get blocked. We would probably use different assistants, so we would introduce transient-based assistants, and depending on the procedure, for example, we could use different prompting for each assistant. We would also gather the feedback from the customers and update this table accordingly, whether a user can make it or not. And also, if they say they can't make it, we could schedule an appointment for another date and time. We would just use the same scenario as with Blend AI in my previous tutorial, but we would definitely do that. So yeah, as I said, this is just a demo, just to show you how the whole logic works. But in real life scenario, it would require many weeks of setting up to make it workable and, to make it reliable. And I know for me, the most confusing part is this one, where you have to use webhook URLs, where you have to input proper headers, API tokens, and JSON construct. Like Make.com is supposed to be drag and drop, no code tool, right? And suddenly you have to use JSON constructs, understand how to properly set up all these variables. And this is confusing. That's why, since I've actually experienced this problem firsthand, we've got you covered. We are developing like curated crash course on this specific technical stuff, where we'll teach you how to feel comfortable with using all these JSON webhooks and how to properly use documentation provided by different tools. So I'll tell you more later in this video about our educational product, but this is going to be amazing. We've been developing it for a few months now, and it is still not ready. So we are not going to launch it until it's fully ready and until it's valuable enough for you to spend your time on this. And one more thing I wanted to cover was pricing. So as I said, they have a pay-as-you-go model. So 5 cents per minute is taken by Vapi. And then on top of that, we have voice providers, LLM providers, and transcriber. And depending on the provider, it might be a bit higher or lower, but that's how it works. Guys, the solutions I shared today are just the basics of AI voice systems. For real-life projects, things get much more comprehensive. At our company, we usually custom code the entire logic because it's the most reliable and customizable approach, and then we use Vapi only as the infrastructure layer for the voice tag. So again, if you want to introduce and implement a reliable and effective system in your business, feel free to reach out directly to me at bossar.agency. To prepare this video, I use a lot of materials, including YouTube videos and some specific templates shared by fellow AI agency owners. So I want to give credit to Liam, Brandon, Jannis, Mark, and Taha. I'll attach the links to their YouTube channels in the video description. Make sure to check them out. They offer a lot of free value. For example, Mark and Taha, they work as a team. I know for a fact they sell a lot of AI voice agents and they use Blend AI to build them. On the other hand, there is Jannis, whom I know personally as well. He also has a huge demand for these AI voice systems, but he primarily uses Vapi to build them. So we have Mark and Taha, the Blend AI guys, and Jannis, who specializes in Vapi, and I decided to jump on 2 separate calls with them to find out why they chose one tool over the other. And since they are actively selling them, these AI voice systems, I tried to get some insights for you guys on the types of businesses you can sell to right now. So make sure to listen to these calls carefully. Thank you guys for joining. Let's just dive right into questions. And the first one is, of course, why did you select Blend AI over other tools, over Vapi or something else?
Sure. I'll take this one. The best way I can answer that is right now all this stuff is so new that there's a problem. There's a challenge that most people don't realize until it actually comes up, which is documentation. Most of these platforms, because they're so new, all of the problems that usually when you come across something, you can just Google it and you'll find an answer, that doesn't exist within most of these platforms. What that means is that if you have a challenge, you need to be able to reach out to people who actually made the platform or the solution. The reason why we're sticking with Blend at the time being is that every time I had a challenge, I always had somebody that could go and actually ask from either from the Blend team or in Discord or in the community. And that can be a real roadblock if you can't find those people or if they don't allow you access to them. You're basically stuck with what you have. So out of everything that I've seen, that's been by far the biggest reason why we've stuck to Blend. Obviously, I could go on and on about performance and conversational pathways, etc. But the thing that stopped me the most is when I had a problem, I always found somebody to help me with it from the Blend team.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I see. So if you had to name some limitations, I know that you've been working with the tool for quite a while. And sure. in real life, when you implement the solutions, you definitely bump into some limitations or disadvantages. If you had to name some of them, what would that be?
The biggest limitation depends on how you're positioning your product. If you are trying to make it sound human, you will have a really big barrier, which is interruption. meaning human conversation is quite tough for people. It's even more tough for robots. So, for example, if I'm having a conversation and the robot's talking and I say, oh yeah, that's true. That's not supposed, they're not supposed to answer to that. It's just, I'm agreeing with what you're saying, but the robot will stop and try to think or try to it'll analyze what you said and try to come up with an answer. That can really throw it off track. But also, if you go the other way, you're like, okay, you know what? Let me make that interruption threshold, as they call it, which is basically how long do you wait? Like, how much does somebody have to talk for it to stop? Some people, as soon as they start talking, if I start saying something and the robot keeps talking in the background, I'm going to feel like it doesn't care. It's not listening to me at all. And that's also not a good experience. So if you're trying to position these products as this is a human replacement, you're going to come across that challenge. And very, very tough to solve. For the time being, there isn't a clear way to solve it. Assuming you're not trying to do that. The next biggest limitation, at least on our side, is longer and longer conversations. Means, let's say, for example, you have a team of 50 people, and it's supposed to be a receptionist that can direct all these 50 people. You have hundreds of pages of documents, and making sure that it's accurate, it's fast, and it doesn't sort of get into loops on itself. Those are also quite challenging, but I'm much more confident over the next couple of months that will fade away comparatively to the interruption threshold problem. That's probably the biggest limitation. Everything else over the last couple of months have improved so dramatically. I remember when we first started, you couldn't even send a webhook out. It was so tough just to get access to a third-party database. But now that problem's solved. So you can do a lot with the stuff that you do have, but those two challenges are the things that we're dealing with the most at the moment.
Cool. And you mentioned that there are people that try to present these voice bots as humans, right? How often does that happen among your clients, maybe? Or maybe
everybody.
What are the everybody? Everybody is trying to present them as humans.
That's the reason is that's how they're presented to them. That's how they're marketed to them, right? When you hear those demos and you hear, wow, that sounds so quick. And so anybody can make a demo right now on Bland or on Vapi and make it sound super good. But when you're actually deploying these agents, most people, unless they are genuinely hard of hearing, they know it's a robot from the first second. And then when you try to pretend that it's not, it just comes off as almost to a certain degree. I'm not going to say disrespectful, but people are upset if you try to take them for fools who can't realize this is a robot. So we actually went the completely other direction. We're like, look, instead of trying to compare ourselves to people who are quite good at their job, let's just get a really good robot that solves the solution. Because in most cases, people will forgive latency, but they won't forgive uselessness. They just want their problem solved. They're not actually as concerned with who's solving it. Is it just solving my problem?
Yeah, exactly. That seems reasonable. Not to compare this with human beings, just with robots, which were much worse before, right? Before this technology. And overall about use cases, if you've noticed any patterns, which kind of solutions do you implement more often than others, or which kind of niches, which kind of clients do you have more often? Could you tell that?
Yeah, I can take this one. So in terms of volume, I'd say the most successful businesses are service-based businesses, brick and mortar businesses, because their workflows are very predictable. And kind of the breadth of the conversation is also pretty limited. So it's either I have questions about what you guys do. I want to book an appointment. I want to cancel an appointment. I want to speak to someone of higher authority, and you just route it to that person. So a lot of these are predictable. And once we actually understand their workflow, then real estate is a really good industry. It's very consistent. Hey, I want to ask about this listing. Do you have any 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom in this area? Very predictable. Dental, physicians, physiotherapists, anyone that has a business where it's appointment first, or especially one niche we're really focusing on is the roofing niche. A lot of these folks are on roofs during the day, and they get tons of calls on their cell phone that never get picked up. Every single call could lead to a conversion. And in roofing, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars per job. So it's an easy sell for them because you either can use us or you can miss thousands of dollars of calls. All we do is we pick it up for you, we answer their question, and we set it. So these are kind of no-brainer offers that anyone starting out, it's a very easy way to break yourself into the industry.
Okay, understood. So the more predictable the workflow is, the easier it is to use this kind of voice-based assistance. Understood.
Exactly.
Sounds good. All right. I think the last question would be about general advice for people who would like to learn how to build these kind of solutions, these voice-based assistants. Where would you start? How would you learn them? What would be your approach?
Sure. So I'll give my take, and then Taha has a lot of battle scars himself, so I'll let him speak as well. Big picture, try and build something, like I said, predictable first, and just start getting some opinions on it. You could even get on calls with clients and offer them to try it for free or implement it in their business for free. A lot of the learning that we've done over the past 9-10 months is us listening to the calls from our agents that we thought were perfect because we were demoing them on easy questions. And as soon as the same question was worded slightly differently or with a bit of a thick accent, we started being humbled in terms of, oh, okay, we need to build it this way. So if you take a fixed use case and you just go deep into it and try to perfect that one use case, let's say real estate cold calling as a small one, get that right, get a bunch of people to give you feedback on it. And then once you understand that, now you can start positioning that for different industries, different use cases. That's kind of like my 2 cents on it.
I like that. And piggyback on what you're saying, you mentioned a very good point about get feedback. I think a lot of people, this might be unintuitive, but I think too many people are spending too much time building. You can build forever, but if you don't get feedback, like Mark was saying, you have no context of what a good agent is. So my approach to it is, although you will fail, how fast can we fail? Meaning, how quickly can I have a demo that's at least viable to a certain degree? And then let's just start. Let's just try. Let's see how people are feeling about it. But it's unfortunate that I see all these folk who are spending literally weeks and months developing. But unless you actually go to market and you just try and see what happens, you will never have concrete information. You might be working on something that's completely opposite to what the market actually wants. And you're just wearing yourself out trying to build this imaginary solution that you think will be so valuable. But I'm very much a proponent of let's build something that's barely viable and let's just throw in the market and see what happens. And then you iterate, and you go from there. That's at least the quickest way we found to get started.
Yeah, and the beauty of the video that you're making right now for everyone watching is it's super important that you go and try all of these different services that Bohdan's going over and see which one do you like, which one are you picking up the easiest, which one can you go deep in. That same tool, you might actually ditch it after 4 or 5 months after you hit a limitation for your specific use case. We've tried Vapi, we've tried Synthflow, but we just happen to like Bland because for our way of building, it's the best. But doesn't mean it is the best overall. Obviously, we're going to be biased. You have to go and experiment, build things, break things until you see what the perfect fit is.
Cool. Love that. So basically, as I like to say, learn through execution, right? Build something, get some feedback from real life applications and iterate. So yeah, that's the strategy. Sounds good. Especially when it's so easy to start. I mean, with Blend AI, it took me a few days and I actually could build a bot that would work. And of course, I know that the more iterations you get, the more real life solutions you build, the better you become. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing all this information and insight with the community. It is very much appreciated. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so thanks for joining, Jannis. Let's jump right into questions. Could you please tell me why did you pick Vapi over other tools as your go-to tool for building these AI voice-based assistants? What was the main reason?
Good question. We get this from a lot of customers. I would say mostly every single one. And the answer is kind of simple because Vapi basically provides you this minimum layer that you actually need of building voice assistants. So where it differs a lot from, let's say, Synthflow, Thoughtly, Bland AI, it has like only the minimum layer, meaning you can build whatever you would like it to have on top. While those other platforms basically have a more predefined approach of certain features that they integrate that you kind of rely on. So in the long term, it makes it harder to do some customizations. If there's something specific you want to build out and you literally just cannot build out because they don't give you access to some of the features, you need to wait until their product team maybe introduces something like that. So that's why Vapi, in my opinion, is so powerful because it gives you more access to the architecture and you can really customize every single feature and choose providers that suit your need. For some, it might be, for example, performance. For some, it might be the price. For some, it might be the quality of the voices, etc. So you can be very, very flexible.
Yeah, I see. It seems to me that it is more flexible, but also you need a bit more skills. You require the skill set to be able to build things on the site and then connect it to Vapi, while with Blend AI or maybe with Synthflow, it is more pre-configured, so you might be not so technical and achieve more or less the same result. Okay, so there is always this trade-off. Either you can build more things, it is more flexible, but you need skills, or it can be less technical, but then you are less flexible because you are dependent on what was pre-configured by the tool, right?
Exactly. Either that, or you can just follow people on YouTube that post templates about it, right? It's very easy to follow a 10-minute tutorial where you just implement no-code solutions onto another platform, and it will work out of the box for you.
Cool. All right. Another question I have is, I know for a fact that you've completed a lot of projects so far on these AI voice bots, let's call them that. Have you noticed a pattern? Like, what is the most popular solution or the most popular deliverable? Or maybe you've noticed a niche, a kind of business that repeats a lot in terms of your leads or your customers. Can you share that?
Yeah. Totally. So first of all, I think it's incredibly versatile. We see tons of different use cases. A very popular one that we are currently denying quite a lot is outbound agents, because I just believe they're not at a point where I think it makes a lot of sense, especially if you really do something with cold leads and you don't have any kind of warmed up relation to your company, because this makes it at least a little bit easier. But in general, those kind of projects we try to avoid, even though we get a lot of requests for it. The ones that we are more interested in is obviously the standard stuff, where I also see quite a lot of demand. And this is literally for mostly any kind of niche that you can imagine. It's appointment setters, it is customer support, it is sales or like lead qualification. Those are generally a really good starting point. And this can be in a lot of industries, like I mentioned.
Cool. Listen, I get a lot of questions about audio input and output. So we have all heard that ChatGPT, OpenAI, is going to release this input and output for audio for GPT-4 Omni. So do you think that will change things? Is it going to be like more realistic and then the demand will increase? Or is it not the case, in your opinion?
Well, I hope it's going to change it. I hope it's going to do something, because in the end, if you connect voice with voice, it's a lot faster. You take out a lot of the other tools that are currently needed out of the equation, which just add latency. So there will probably be a better way of connecting voice agents in the future. But I still believe that those external services such as Vapi or Blend will be around, because in the end, OpenAI provides you the infrastructure of building something, but they obviously don't pre-create integrations with things like Twilio, Vonage, custom SIP trunks, whatever else you would like to integrate as telephony, right? So you still need some kind of software to make it work if you don't want to custom develop it yourself.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, maybe one more question. What advice would you give to people who are interested in the space, who want to learn how to build these AI voice-based assistants and eventually maybe build and sell them to various businesses? How would you approach this learning stage? Where would you start from?
Sure. I would say, first of all, obviously it depends on the skill level. So if the person is already a little bit technical and maybe already knows what a JSON construct is, how requests work, what an API is, because I think those are the basics that everyone probably has to know in order to make like automations for anything in the automation or AI space. Once that is given, it probably makes sense to, first of all, just get like a hang of some really easy platforms, something like Synthflow, where you just get the hang of what a voice agent actually is and how it sounds and how it feels. And once you feel comfortable just getting a hang of the whole setup and how you can leverage it, maybe even for just some test project that you set up by yourself, you have already more knowledge to dive into something that allows you more customization, which is what you want in the end, because people always have customized needs, especially for a business. Yeah. And there are so many nuances to it that we see that with Synthflow, we could never achieve what we are currently doing with Vapi, just because we can customize it. So you start simple on I would say, very basic platform like Synthflow, where you can create things visually. And then you can basically get started with more advanced methods using Vapi, for example, for transient assistance to just like start to customize that whole progress. So obviously, I'm a massive fan of YouTube. So YouTube is probably one of the best platforms to learn about things. But secondly, because we are so new in the space, you often need to rely on documentations that are around for other platforms. So that's another point to get started with. And yeah, if it comes to selling platforms, selling those services, obviously you just want to get your name out. Just learn it, share your knowledge on YouTube, share your knowledge on other platforms or via PR. There are tons of ways on how you can manage to get properly started from that angle as well.
Yeah, sounds good. As I like to say, first step, become an expert. The second step is get known that you're an expert, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense. And that would be it. Thank you very much for joining. And the
Of course,
community
thanks
will
a lot.
definitely appreciate it. Thanks. Have a good
Sure.
one.
Thank you. You as well.
As you can see, there are different approaches and tools you can choose from, but the fact remains that AI voice systems are one of the hottest selling solutions for AI agencies right now. While these systems have been gaining attention over the past half a year or so, demand has really surged only in the last couple of months. The platforms, the tools that we discussed today, like Synthflow, Blend, Vapi, they are evolving rapidly. There is increased latency, human-like fluency, and as these tools become better, there are more use cases and more demand appearing on the market. So I hope this video has provided you with enough context to choose the platform that you like, that you want to learn, and then you can master these tools and start building real-life solutions. You know, when I was just starting out, I quickly understood how everything worked. I could build chatbots in VoiceFlow, I understood how to use conversational pathways in Blend AI, and so on. So no-code tools are cool, that's for sure. But whenever it came to using a logic platform, whether it was my own server with custom code or even a no-code solution like Make.com, it is supposed to be like drag and drop solution, right? But it was always so stressful. You usually have to deal with API endpoints, webhooks, JSON formats, and other technical stuff. And if you don't have a development background, it is very confusing. It is becoming the biggest obstacle to delivering real-life solutions, custom solutions to your clients. I was fortunate I had a development team from my previous project and I could delegate this part to them. But if you don't have that option, it's time to stop avoiding it. You need to learn these low-code tools to handle various integrations, like connecting a bot with a calendar, a database, or other similar tasks. I know firsthand there is no place where you can find a curated knowledge specifically designed for this part, which we non-developers desperately need to start using these awesome tools to their full potential, right? So we've decided to create it for you. My team of developers is currently preparing modules, a coding crash course that will help you feel comfortable with things like using JSON constructs or setting up webhooks, or overall getting some basic technical skills so you don't have to endlessly search for YouTube tutorials for every little thing you want to accomplish. So sign up for our waitlist, we'll reach out once the modules are ready, plus we will share all our experience on how to generate leads, how to sell these solutions, how to price them, and much more. Alright guys, this video is meant to be a starting point for you. I will probably prepare more content covering more detailed and complex systems in the future, so make sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed this one, please leave some engagement signals such as liking this video and commenting. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye.